Class. Question. Background. Hypothesis. Experiment. Result. Conclusion. That is the steps of the scientific method. Good. Everybody clap. Alright, good. So, once you are now ready, grab your laptop. So, this time I want to talk about science projects. Science projects. Very important to understand that we are having a science fair April the 8th, 2017. Science fair at Westlake Middle. Westlake Middle. So, what is a science fair? A science fair consists of science projects made from our very own Westlake Middle kids. And what's so important about them doing the science project is lets them see from a standpoint, how do scientists think like? How do engineers think like? How do anybody think like using two things? The scientific method and the engineering design process. Very two important things when you're doing a science fair. You have to think like a scientist, or you have to act like an engineer. Once you understand that, our kids are now able to understand we can do anything accomplished. We're all winners. So thank you for listening. Grab your binders. Grab your notebook. Notebook binders. Once you are ready, we're working on our prior knowledge.
We're using the computer?
We are using the computers. No, you're okay. We're using prior knowledge to find out our prediction and question.
Okay.
Prediction and questions. And then we're going to work on our method and materials. Remember, it's important to know what you want to do with a science project. You need certain steps. So, let's have some of our students come up here and talk about the steps. Cesar, over here. Right here. So, we have the scientific method. This is one of my students, Cesar. He's going to tell you the first step in the scientific method. So, we have the scientific method. Number one, what is the first step? Question. So you need to know what a question is. A question to any problem is very important. Q-U, E-S-T-I-O-N. Okay, question. Not spelled correctly, but that's okay. You did very good, Cesar. No problem. So, cut that part. No, I'm playing. Well, you have questions. So, number two. Let's have one of our students. Alanad. So we have one of our Obioma kids. Yeah, I know. She knows too. So, we have background. Background. Thank you, Alanad. So we have background. Background. It's very important when you talk about background, you did your research to understand your question. So right now, students are trying to do background and question to understand the next part, number three. So let's have Dua come up and show what is the third step to the scientific method. The third step. H-Y-P-O-T-H. Yes, very good. Thank you, Dua. So, hypothesis. Remember, a hypothesis is an educated guess. They use an if and then statement. So, class, let's repeat the first three steps. Question. Background. Hypothesis. You need to have these three in order to be able to do the next and most important step. So, let's have an Obioma kid who is very good at understanding this part come up here. Anu. So, the next step, after you have question, background, hypothesis, it's very important. It starts with an E. We have experiment. Experiment. And so what's the experiment, Mr. Manakai? It's the project that the students are doing. They actually have to do an experiment. If you're a scientist, you can't just look at the stars and be like, that's it. You actually understand, how do the stars even become a star? So now you'll be able to ask a question, do your research, which is your background, have an if and then statement, and then do the experiment. Once you do your experiment, then you have your fifth step. Your fifth step. So your fifth step, we have our president of Obiomicas come explain it, Kiki.
What is it?
So, when you have done your experiment, you will now be able to have results. So what are results, Mr. Manakai? So, basically results is basically your data. You basically have now something that shows you have your experiment, and you can now see if your hypothesis is correct, and see if it complies with your background, and see does it help with your question. But once you have your results, then you can have your final step finished. Your final step, we'll have one of our students write this down, Harmela. She'll come and write down our final step of the scientific method. Okay. Our final step. What is our final step? Our final step, conclusion. Conclusion. So, conclusion is basically the summary of what we done, and that's to make sure that's a reply back to question. Remember, even though you have a question, you need your conclusion to make sure that it answers your question. Without an answer to a question, you don't have a conclusion that helps you out with that. So then, everyone, question, background, hypothesis, experiment, results, conclusion. That makes the steps of the scientific method. Good. Everybody clap. Everybody clap. Good. As much science as you want, but kids learn by the most official way that I see, and that's by doing it themselves, finding their own project, something that, okay, I never wanted to really explore this, but I'm gonna see what it's about. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, they like scratching their head, calling their mamas, crying like, "Mama, I don't even know why you picked this project." Then after they put on their board and presented, they be like, "I just became a scientist and an engineer." So yeah, teachers, if you feel like your kid is frustrating themselves, let them frustrate themselves. Don't baby them. Don't spoil them. They need to be able to teach. Okay, what are we doing now, Soliana? Abstract. Okay, very good. So what are the things you need?